I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The record show all members are present.
Scott, I'll move the consent agenda.
We did a motion for the consent agenda.
Second.
Move. Supervisor Shea.
Couple of changes.
Any discussion?
Wait.
Consent agenda, no.
Oh, okay.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Now,
Scott, I'd like to make a motion that we move item 3B to the first item on our agenda. That is the east-west soil conservation discussion on the 2080 agreement.
I'll second.
Is Bernie come in?
Yeah, he should be here.
okay, so we have a motion to move item 3B to the front of the agenda. And we have a second by Supervisor Schultz. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Scott,
Okay.
I'd like to move C. I'd like to switch 3 and 2 and C. To switch the order of them, so we have discussion before the final public hearing.
Okay.
What are you talking about there, Mr. Shea?
Under C, switch 2 to 3 and 3 to 2.
Let's
So
see.
we have the discussion before.
On 2C,
Is that what we want, Leanne?
just the discussion only, the decision probably should be after the public hearing.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
You're just switching 2 and 3, is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Swap places.
Just for the discussion part, yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay, any other items adjusted on the agenda? If not, then we'll go to, Janet Lemrick, HR Director, discussion under decision to approve and authorize chairman to sign 2080 agreement with West Potawatomi Soil and Water Conservation District and East Potawatomi County Soil, Water, and Conservation District for funding, administration, and implementation of a full-time conservation education coordinator position. Morning.
I think you all have probably seen a couple different versions of this, but this is the final version that we've worked together with the group. Matt Wilbur has seen it as well. The one change that we added this morning is 6-5, where we put the dollar amount in there. So then that's recognized in there as well. Their group has looked it over and has approved it as well. So does the board have any questions about this agreement?
No, I'll make a motion to approve the 2080.
I'll second.
The only thing I would say, Bernie, that's the conversation that we had the other day, and I just wanted to reference those the funding amount.
Very good, yes.
And review it on an annual basis, depending on where we're at with your balance.
Right.
And it's my understanding that East is going to handle all of the insurance part of it?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Okay.
Well, East to operate as the fiscal agent for both East and West, right?
Who's your treasurer?
I don't know if that's been,
Oh, Keith and Hotsy and,
well, actually treasurers are Pete Hobson
yeah.
and myself.
And it'll change here,
Okay,
or
But
potentially.
it's just as you are, we will reelect the first of the year, so
okay.
it could change, probably will not.
There was some discussion, Bernie, with the, in consultation with the state. Did we get that taken care of?
And actually, that was their question was, shouldn't dollars and cents be in there as well?
Okay.
So yes,
We don't need their approval for anything,
no, they
right?
didn't, they were looking over the whole contract for us. And that's what they said too, don't you have a dollar amount in there? So you were right on top of it.
Yes, we were. I think it's a good project, can't wait for it to get started. When will, is job description done? Is it
We're ready
posted?
to roll now on that. When this is signed, we'll be on the rate.
When's your next meeting?
The next Friday, actually Friday.
17.
Keep us posted.
We will.
Any other discussion?
I'm good.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
Bernie, Tammy, thank you. Okay. Now we have, public hearing, first consideration of ordinance 2021-09, an ordinance to amend chapter 1.45 voting precinct boundaries of the Potomac County, Iowa Code for uncombined Boomer Township and Neola Township for Neola Precinct, named in Boomer Precinct, by dissolving GLWCW Precinct, by uncombining Hardin Township from McClellan Precinct, by combining Hardin Township to Trainer Precinct, and by combining Lincoln Township to the Walnut Precinct, by combining Center Township, Wave Township, and Wright Township to the Carson Precinct, by combining Grove Township to Macedonia Precinct, and setting a date for second consideration. Wow. Does anybody know whether they're gonna vote?
Are you guys gonna send out little update cards or something?
We will, or the
They have to.
Secretary of State will, and then charge us
They're gonna
back.
notify us.
They'll all be
Hopefully
notified.
today, if they're going to help with the cost of doing that, otherwise, I do believe yes, because everything is changing, the congressional district.
You guys will have like messaging on your social media and everything too, right?
Yep.
Kind of highlight the change and.
Mhm. Yeah, we'll have to get the word out before
We
June.
will after it's approved from the Secretary of State.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, we need a motion to open public hearing.
Oh, that's-
Public hearing, sorry.
You open up, you
I'll
need
make a motion to public hearing
I'll
on
second that.
everything you just read. Unless you want me to read it again.
no, roll call?
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea,
Aye.
Wickman,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
and Groby.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. Anyone here wanting to speak in
Is it Mayor McClellan okay with this change?
favor?
Thank you.
Anyone speaking opposed? Yes.
For favor, I have some photos of the road from the last 3 years, just to show those that don't live out there what it looks like.
This is for,
Just for voting precincts.
these are for,
This is not for Leisure
Oh, for
Avenue.
the voting.
this is for, we had to redo the precincts after the census this year, so
Oh,
the people got located around different, so we had to redo the precincts because they had to be the same, similar, close numbers of the same type of people and stuff, so. So we're not quite to there yet, so, okay. Anyone else speaking in favor or opposed? Seeing none, hearing none.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Sorry.
Okay,
Close public hearing.
okay. Roll call?
Chairman Belt,
Aye.
Supervisor Shea, Wickman, Schultz,
Aye.
and Groby.
Aye. Christie, has this increased the number of precincts?
No, it's actually the same.
Okay, so do we have, polling places for all of the precincts then? We still
As
have,
long as nobody tells me no next year, but yep,
so our cost won't change, probably.
should not.
Okay.
I need a motion and a second
So moved.
to
Second.
approve first consideration of ordinance That's 2109.
What do you want? What do you want that
Ordinance
other-
to amend
What do you want the second one?
If we could do it Thursday, if we could get 3 guys here Thursday for that second consideration, we could get this off to the Secretary of State ASAP.
What time Thursday?
Huh?
could be here,
What time?
I'll set
O'clock?
it,
10 a.m.?
regular time.
I'll set it for, 10 o'clock on the fourth, on the, what day is it?
Thursday's the 9th.
The ninth. And, 10 o'clock.
Okay, get a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. For 10 o'clock on December 9th. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. We didn't need a roll call on that, right?
No.
Okay, next up, we got Matt Wise, Director of Planning and Development and or Planning, Acting Planning Director, and Terry Brown from Iowa Homeland Security. Right.
I don't know, Terry's on.
Motion is second to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution number 118-2021 entitled Local Match for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
So move.
Second.
Nothing's changed, right?
Terry is on.
No, so I'm here as well. So this is Terry Brown.
This is for the current ones, right?
It is for the current one and then adding the next 13 homes. So the resolution that you signed for the initial 8 had to be revised to include the next 13 homes. The first 8 are still going to be covered by the CDBG. The second may not, the local match. So the resolution has
Talked about
to.
that last week with
Yeah, and
Donna.
I'll be seeing the governor this afternoon, so I'll talk to her in person about it as well,
Good.
so.
Who are you seeing? Okay.
So if we don't get the CBG funds, then we're able to.
We'll have to cover the 15% of those 13 homes.
Yeah.
The state will pick up 10, FEMA will pick up 75, we're left with 15.
What did we say, that was $500,000, wasn't it?
Well, the total,
Total is 780, but it's like,
329.
Go ahead, Terry.
The new add-ons about 500,000, give or take a few dollars.
503, wasn't it?
When will we, know that?
Would they?
Is that going to continue to be a work in progress then?
Correct.
Okay.
Have you heard anything at all on your end from Dave Seek or anybody like that?
I've not, no.
Okay. Well, I'll let you guys all know when I find out tomorrow or Thursday, whatever. Doesn't matter.
Please. That'd be good.
Any other discussion?
We're good?
Okay. Roll call?
Chairman Bell,
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman, Schultz,
Aye.
Shea,
Aye.
and Groby.
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have.
Thanks, you guys.
Yeah.
Matt, are you around later on?
Yes, I will.
John Raston, County Engineer. Are we switching this one around? Okay, discussion or a decision to approve and authorize board to sign resolution number 119 2021 entitled Resolution Authorizing Vacation of a Section of Potawatomi County Road.
White, that's out there at Bentley?
Yeah, there wasn't a map in your packet, I made some, you want me to bring them up?
Yeah, if you don't mind, and then, Mitch,
Okay.
there's a resident that I spoke with yesterday that may be commenting possibly, so just
Thank
watch
you,
that
sir.
feed if you don't mind.
So the yellow triangle is the person that requested it. It's in Bentley, there's
Her name would be Amber if she does, but I don't know.
a railroad subdivision that has existed for a long time. The town Bentley never developed, so I guess we consider ourselves holder of that public right of way or whatever it is, but we're vacating our title to it, I guess, as far as it develops.
John, why are we just doing that section and not the rest of that?
We've done some pieces here and there. Some of those wider ones are 66 feet, so if somebody is savvy enough to grab a subdivision that is already parceled out and wanted to develop it, the right of way is established. So we're kind of holding on to those pieces in case that were to happen. But some of these alleys, there's just no way that we can put public infrastructure in there. So it doesn't have any value to us on those parcels. So it's pretty much being taken care of by those owners or not being taken care of at all.
Looks like it's all covered with trees.
Yes.
It's the blue piece, right?
Yes, it's the blue piece. The yellow triangle is the parcel that requested it.
So is there one resident on the yellow parcel then?
Yes.
Are they,
Sad.
is this,
You had somebody that didn't want.
No, she was in favor.
is this an easement then?
Yes.
So are they willing to take the easement then?
Yeah, they requested this
Okay, so they'll end up adding that to their.
Half goes to that owner and half goes to the other owner, so they'll split it on.
Oh, they're on this long piece on the other
Yeah.
side?
Yeah, the old railroad right away there. They'll split that down the middle. And half
For
goes to
some
Stratton.
crazy reason, this town decides to develop because essentially to come back, was to be a road.
What,
Scott, I'll make a motion to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution 119-2021. Resolution authorizing vacation of a section of Potawatomi County.
I'll second it.
Okay,
this doesn't go very far, does it? The railroad right away?
No, I think most of it's been given back to the owners.
Okay.
so did someone survey this, or how's this get put onto added to their parcels?
I guess that's between them to survey, so we're just vacating our
Easement,
easement to it, so, yeah.
okay.
So all these little white lines, what would have been, had this.
Yeah, those are all parcels, they were
I mean, it's
tiny.
kinda, I mean, it's sad to see, like, this would have been a cool little town had they moved forward with that, but,
It's not incorporated anymore.
I don't know if it ever was. If anybody wants to look at it, I found the old plat from 1870 or something.
Is that what this is?
No, it was
I mean,
drawn.
this is current, but it shows the.
Yeah, but no, there was no plat for, stockyards and rail and all kinds of, lots, main streets, everything.
Okay, we got a motion by Supervisor Wickman. I
I'll
guess
second it.
Supervisor Schultz. Any other discussion? Hearing none? Good, any more? Discussion, okay. Hearing none, roll call?
Chairman Belt.
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman.
Aye.
Groby.
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
And Shay.
Aye.
Okay, next up, is this where we're switching this
We're
one
going
around?
number 3, the discussion.
Okay, next up we have, discussion and/or decision to reject, approve, modify, and approve the proposal for the Leisure Avenue Secondary Road Assessment District. Is that right?
It's just the discussion you're having now, and the rest of it will be after the public hearing.
Okay,
No, we do want to turn it on.
There's really two, I sent an email to you guys yesterday afternoon saying there's really two parts of this. The first is you establish the assessment district, and then the second part is you apportion how it's going to be paid. But the apportionment, I think, is the biggest concern for most of you as far as how we're going to do this. So I had sent a revised apportionment kind of based on a scale of the percent of value applied to, that same percent applied to how much is, the whole thing is costing. My understanding is the entire project is a little over 188,000. So part of it will depend on how much the county puts in, how much, that you guys want the citizens to put in. And so what I had sent you shows if the county pays nothing, or if the county pays 20%, or if the county pays 30%. And again, what I'm doing is simply suggestions to you. I'm not recommending anything. I just, you guys wanted to have some numbers to look at to see how this would fall out, and that's what I provided. And this morning I sent it again with the parcel identification numbers. Because when you're establishing the district, you have to decide if you're going to include all the parcels. And if there are any of those small parcels that are not buildable, then they probably shouldn't be included, because there's really no benefit to having that being part of the assessment district. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I've got a comment. I just don't think that a small piece of ground ought to be assessed as the same as the bigger pieces with homes on them. I just think there's some small farm ground there that there's some concern as to why they should pay the same as everybody else.
Well, and that's partly why we did the scaling of putting a percent on it instead of just splitting it based on the number of parcels.
Right.
So you did it based on the property value.
Based on the property value,
Valuations.
yes. But then instead of having, what are
So
they?
that's that second column up there is the percent value of the whole district.
Gotcha.
What kind of interest rate are on these? Does anybody know?
This is-
Do you have any idea what that would be for John? You did.
This just cost, the last public hearing, we discussed 1.6, which would be our last interest rate on a bond. The intent of having the interest rate on this is if we have to bond for the money, so that seemed like the appropriate rate to use.
Okay,
So this doesn't reflect interest.
all right.
If Mitch, you go back one slide. Let's discuss this real quick. So there's two petitions originally. The first segment, the per parcel cost came at $5,112, and we had the higher interest rate on there. Then we had the second petition from Lookout to Chalet Lane. Same thing. So the annual payments on the first one are about $741, about $1,000 on the second one. At the last public hearing, you talked about combining the two petitions, so we did that. We talked about changing that percentage. In our policy, the board can add 10% for businesses out there, and I think there was some discussion of that. So, and the interest rate. So I made those changes and combined the petitions. Overall cost, 1.6% interest. Sorry, Brian, am I in your way?
You're okay. I've
Okay.
seen it on my deal too.
So that changes everything up. The principal payment was $469, and the first year interest was $75. So the payments came down with those changes to about $544, but this was on each parcel. So this is kind of how we started, and I just kind of finished that. Then lands, if you go to the next one, I guess, they kind of flip. So we have the same cost, but now we're doing a percentage based on valuation. So that's the two different angles you're looking at there.
What do we generally pay? Do we pay the 30%, John?
Our policy goes by traffic count, and the board can decide to put in 10% more if there's an existing business out there. So
Okay, so where's our traffic count?
about 200 vehicles.
Okay,
that's
so
where
what's
the
that put us at?
That's where the 20% came from. So it's just traffic count divided by thousands.
And we can go to 30% if we
We
so
can do whatever
choose.
we want. I mean, we can go 50 if we want to.
You go to 50 if you want to. So
We don't have to, the other thing too, everyone, just to be clear, we don't have to put an interest rate on this either. I mean, that's just a rate, which I don't disagree with what John's, the way he did that. I'm just saying, we get to set that.
there's only a max defined. And the max defines 9%, and there's a website for that. But then land kind of broke this down with 0, 20, and 30 to give you those options as well. I think there's some multiple parcel owners.
Yes, there's
Put in there.
four people that own more than one parcel, so I've added in there to show what their total amount would be.
I think if you're comparing both petitions, probably the 4%ers here are about average, I guess, as far as what the other petition was. So pretty much everybody above is paying less, and everybody below is paying more based on evaluations.
Why are some parcel owners in red?
I was asked who voted in favor,
Oh,
or, you know,
okay.
who signed and didn't sign, and so
Okay.
I put those who didn't sign in red,
Okay.
and the ones who did in green. It's not meant to be as
You
Christmassy
probably
as it
said
looks.
that earlier when I wasn't listening.
I got in your head about that Christmas.
Yes, you did, because you said it, and now it
And
just.
the final column is if we do 30%, that's over a 10-year period, like 1172 divided by 10, correct?
Right. Plus simple interest, not compound interest.
Okay.
So I
To
guess
me,
there's-
that seems a little more fair and equitable than the other way, just everybody pay a blanket same amount.
yeah, I think there's about 100 different ways you can apply more than that, different ways of doing this. So I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer, but this is a different look at it based on valuations, which is probably more similar to what you do on a tax rate. Right.
Leon, just for reference, the first entry up there that has the three numbers to the right, 7,537.24. Explain that to me again.
That John and Don Kate own two properties. If you look, you'll see they're up at the top there too.
Yeah.
So what I did was I added those two to show what they're gonna be paying in total.
Oh,
Light Advana.
And it's the same with the Cliftons, and then Clabundi, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Aaron Holtz.
May I say something, please?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay,
There's gonna be a
It'll be
public
during
hearing.
the open hearing.
I understand now,
Yeah.
thank you.
We wanted to have the discussion so you guys know what we're looking at ahead of time.
Yep.
Because this is
No,
all
I'm good.
new information to you guys
I have a question, is that?
after the public hearing.
I don't know, there's so many different ways to skin this. I mean, I don't feel like this is out of line to basically say, you know, if you're X percentage owner of this area of road, you know, then you pay that X percent. I mean, that's one way, everyone pays, there's the other way, everyone pays a flat rate. I mean, it just depends how you wanna. I don't really, to me, it doesn't bother me. I do, and I've said this before, that I believe the county should have more skin in the game. So I'm personally more in favor of the 30% that the county, if we move forward with this.
Whatever we set, though, will be the precedents we set for
I'm-
future.
Maybe, and whoever those people are, I'm more willing to argue. I'm gonna personally handle them case by case. This is the first one in 7 years I've been here that's been brought forward to me. And maybe this will tip the scales where more people start coming in, but I
I
don't
feel
know.
we need to improve some roads out there.
Totally agree. But I also think that we've been spending a lot of money on other things in engineering that aren't roads that should be spent on roads too, so.
For those of you who might wonder, the smaller properties or the smaller valued properties are all classified as residential. The one that Kate owns at 21,400 is classified as agricultural.
Is Joey Bowers also agriculture?
No,
I think
that's-
Warren Brewer
or-
is too, isn't he?
I only looked at the ones that were, had two properties in it, but yes, I believe those
Okay.
are
And the Moran
agricultural.
beef, I think that piece is also
Yes, it is.
agriculture. Okay, do we got any more information, John?
No, I think that's just what
Any
we
more
wanted you guys
discussion?
to.
no.
The interest rate thing, I mean, as long as everyone's.
There's no, Matt left, didn't he? Was no potential, I think we had for any type of major subdivisions up there, right?
Correct.
No, the only one would have been on the very beginning entryway or whatever, which.
That's Warren Brewers, and I don't
Yeah,
think he's
no, I agree,
selling on that. John, on dust control, that calcium you spread up there, it comes right off the highway up a certain amount of ways. Do you know how much that runs per year?
The landowners pay for that. They're probably, is it $300 or $400 a year? It's like 400 feet or $300 or 300 feet or $400. I can't remember
Okay.
that's directly between the contractor and the landowner.
Right.
So,
Right.
You said who's paying $300 or so, you're saying?
Only if they contract.
Okay.
yeah, they pay a contractor for the dust control.
Because I think the first house, I think Blue Monday does that every year, does he not?
Several of them do, yeah.
Yeah. Any more discussion?
Probably gonna have some more, just not.
When we open the,
Yeah. No, you need me to open public hearing.
okay,
So what's next?
Yeah, I think we go back and,
go to
do the hearing, right?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to open public hearing.
Final hearing for Leisure
I'll second that.
Avenue Secondary Roads Assessment District. Motion by Supervisor Schultz. Second by Supervisor Shea. Discussion? Very good, roll call.
Chairman Belt.
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Yep.
Wickman. Schultz.
Aye.
And Groby.
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is now open. I guess those opposed want to speak? Yes, sir.
Name, address.
Ron Clifton, 17987 Leisure Avenue.
Yeah, one second.
Thanks, Major Schultz.
Use name and address then.
I got 18797.
17987.
987. On Leisure Avenue?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down Clifton Avenue, sorry.
Pardon?
I said I wrote down Clifton Avenue.
Oh, did you? Yeah, well.
I got it right.
Uh,
Faster than I can write.
I was up here, I believe it was last month, and spoke in opposition of this assessment. And I think this is only a luxury to me, personally, having this assessment. And I don't want it, and I don't need it, personally. And I stated last month that the reasons for that is the increase in property taxes, the increase in road traffic, and an increase in speed on that road, which is pretty significant right now. The only other thing I've got to say is hopefully this board considers all the objections and has not already made a decision. That's what I've got on it. And I guess I'd like to know what, I guess I wasn't really privy to that, but why all of a sudden, after all the years that I've been out there, why this big push for a hard surface road out there? Is there some other agenda?
For road improvements throughout the county, and it used to be 100% on the petition, and the county was not doing any improvements whatsoever. And with discussion with John, we looked at lowering that amount to a lower amount so they could move forward with some.
Well, I lived out there for quite a long time, and as far as maintenance and stuff, I don't think the county's had to do a whole heck of a lot. So the cost there, I think, was very minimal. I could probably count on my hands how many times they gravelled that road up past my place. It's been spotty. A little bit here is needed, a little bit there. And my main, I guess, concern is that the people that got the most attention and the most maintenance were the people that were doing the dust abatement, preparing the road for the dust.
Don't they put gravel down and then do the
Yeah,
dust?
they blade it, put gravel down, blade it again, and do that twice a season. And the rest of the time, the maintainer goes up the road with the blade up, for the most part. So, I guess, I don't really see a need for it. I think that's a cost that, and the petition was pretty close for the yeas and the nays, I think, on percentage-wise. And I just feel that we don't need it. That's all I got, gentlemen. Thank you.
Mr. Clifford.
I think though it was 75%, wasn't it?
I think that's what it was, yeah. But the numbers on each end were right where they had to be to meet those percentages, is what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else speaking opposed?
Just have one question.
Yeah.
How much does
Your
property,
name?
my name's Teresa McCurran, I live on Rainbow Lane.
Okay.
I don't want to go up. I just have a question about, how much does property tax go up after they pave a road?
Actually, I can answer that because
I would like
I represent the Board of Review in the assessor's office, and I actually talked with the assessor about that. And they said that having a road paved alone does not change the property value, because what they look at is the sale of properties. Now, if this were to be paved afterwards, if suddenly you're seeing lots of sales of homes and the values are higher, then yes, it's going to affect the rest of the properties. But just paving it alone there's too many complicated factors to determine whether or not that alone will increase the value at all, if that makes sense.
It would be a difference between asphalt and bituminous asphalt coating. That's a difference in weight and a number of other things too, correct, John?
I'm sure I understand your question. So she was talking about property taxes.
I know, but at one point, if it's a asphalted road, that might be more true than if it's a seal coat.
Yeah, the big difference in the surface type would be allow major subdivisions or minor, and this wouldn't allow a major subdivision.
Correct, okay.
So I think, just in fairness, I don't think paving this is going to cause the assessor to go to your house and reevaluate it. However, I mean, just in total fairness of this whole thing, the reality is that if some of your neighbors start having a paved surface road is going to make those homes more desirable to most people, which means that people are going to be able to get premium dollars for those types of properties that are out there, which in turn eventually could raise your property tax. So, I mean, your concern, what you're saying is noted. I mean, there's no direct, this will raise your value just because we pave it. If nobody sells, then it doesn't really go that direction. But
Our valuations went up out there because there were some bigger homes sold in the $500,000 range, just north of our place. So it raised all our taxes out there. Mine went up like $69,000 here 2 years ago, the valuation. And it's really more to do, and I called in and asked why. And they said, because of these sales. So and people are moving to Crescent, you guys. They're just moving to Crescent. Think when we were out there, and as a kid, I could go down the street and point all the new homes, and they're just coming that way. They're coming fast. So it's just something we're gonna deal with out there. I don't like it as much as everybody else, but it's coming.
Okay, anyone else?
sir, you had a question in the back earlier. Did you want to ask?
Question about the charter. Your name and address?
So those numbers, are those the amounts that the property owner would pay then? Is that way to understand.
Over a
it.
10-year period, Warren.
Yeah, that, so in my example, if the county pays zero, I would pay
$84 over a 10-year period.
Okay.
And then if we pay 30%, you're at $11.72 over a 10-year period. We kind of looked at that rather than the 5,000 because like your valuation, 19,000, then we put a 5,000 some odd dollar on you. I don't feel that's fair. I really don't. I thought valuation would be a more fair way throughout all the county, on all the roads. Because I think once this goes through, there'll be other people coming forward for their road to be seal coated. So.
I guess I got one question and that concerns, say, for example, this gets approved and Warren gets assessed at 1,700 for the 10-year period or what. Say 2 years down the road, he sells it and somebody moves in, they don't have to pay any of the assessment on that?
It's a 10-year, it goes with the property.
It goes with the property?
Yes, it does.
So they'd be into it for 7 years if they had it for 3.
Or they could work that out on the sale price or whatever, however they do that. But that goes with the property.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else speaking opposed? Okay, those speaking in favor? Okay.
I'd like to, I come up.
Yeah, please. Name and address?
My name is John Cate, 24800 Chalet Lane. Our property is the one that she was referring to that has two different parcels, one with the home and one that's agricultural. Our property is actually at the end of Chalet Lane, and we own the strip of property all the way to Leisure, so we do actually have frontage on Leisure Avenue. And then the other homes on Chalet Lane have easements to the lane. So I wanted to address one thing that was discussed just a little bit ago, and that was property valuations and the potential, because property valuations may go up, eventually taxes may go up. Well, that's a double-edged sword. I would like my property value to be as high as it could be, because if I ever do decide to sell my property, not saying I am, not saying I'm not, but I would like to get as much for my property as I can, right? So I, look at property valuations not as the, going up, not as the enemy, but that's our friend, in my mind. I'd like to see it, seal coated all the way up to Chalet Lane. I know that it came as two different, proposals. But I like to see it all the way to Chalet Lane. For county trucks or whatever to turn around, that would be a much better spot for trucks to turn around at the top of Chalet Lane. It is on a curve, but it has good view from both directions. And there's kind of a natural area there that has a fair amount of space that can be used, for, county maintenance trucks or whatever to turn around. So I think that would be a better spot than the one at the bottom of the hill where you've got people coming around a curve, they can't be seen very well, et cetera. So I think that would be the right spot to end it. The steep hill that goes up Leisure Avenue up to Chalet Lane, that is actually quite a steep hill, and I think that the amount of maintenance that's done on Leisure Avenue, the steep hill that goes up to Chalet on Leisure, the amount of maintenance that's done to Leisure is probably appropriate. However, that hill, because it's so steep, it gets washboarded out terribly bad. And I actually view that as somewhat of a safety concern, that, when you're driving, and of course, not everybody drives a speed limit, and they should, but even when I'm driving, I'm driving a speed limit up the hill, and boom, 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 you hit all the washboard, and it'd be easy to lose control of a vehicle on that. And so I see the improvement of leisure as something that would improve that as well. Those were actually the points that I wanted to make. But I and my wife are in full support of the improvement of Leisure Avenue up to Chalet Lane.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Stephanie Albright, 18005 Leisure Avenue. I've lived there since 1995, and the road hasn't gotten any better. It actually has gotten worse, so that prompted me to actually be the one to start asking people if they were interested. But I found out some people already contacted the county over the years, not enough people. So I went out and actually volunteered through all Leisure Avenue, all the way to 195th. And if I would have done it in the way you're doing it, it would have passed. Because I have the numbers of who said yes and all. But it turned down, and so I had a neighbor, Aaron Holtz, help me. And we found out that there was enough people on this side where the road was, we knew what it was like. So I brought some pictures of the last 3 years, if you can put them up.
That road's been washboarded out since I was a kid.
Right now it's washboarded, but we had that lot of rain and that freezing, it like created craters. I drive a Prius, not everybody has trucks nowadays, but it's like, I have a picture to show you on there. It's the road position. Yeah. And this is just safety issues. I was like,
Now, one of the things, John, when we seal coat it, the trucks are on there for snow removal quicker.
Yeah, the truck routes happen faster than the gravel routes, they're just shorter. So a truck would have 15 to 18 miles, a grader has almost 100, so.
Okay, just wanted to make that clear.
Did you say when we seal coat it?
When it is seal coated, whatever.
Sounds to me like the decision's been made.
Well,
That's
there's 5
one of
votes here.
5 people.
There's 5 votes.
Well, I realize that, but you're representatives.
When it is seal coated, I said, so.
If. That's a better word than when,
Okay.
in my opinion.
the ruts have been and continue to be really bad, especially in the winter and when it rains. But also with the washboarding, it's like it skips not just my car, but I've seen other people too, where it actually runs it towards the ditch. And the ditch is too big in some areas that could be and I have seen cars go in the ditch, of course. In the winter, that hill going up is gonna be slick, but right now, you can't even get up there. So, I just did my own driveway and it made incredible difference. And it's an asphalt, and this is like the oil seal coat was a way to not have major subdivisions come in, because people were concerned about that. But it also is worked on Badger since 2012, so I had people look at Badger, and they're concerned about the repairs. So the county takes care of the patching, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so do people call in for that, or do they kind of?
I mean, us
Evaluate.
allowing it, so our individuals are out there, they'll make note if there are issues, but we also have the means for people to get online and submit a ticket or a claim, basically saying, hey, there's a big pothole in this road. But we will take over the county. If we move forward to this proposal, then the county will take over any maintenance that's due. So there wouldn't be any additional cost to the residents beyond what the initial agreement would be if this goes forward. But
Okay.
Are you allowed to get those pictures up?
And these are from 2019 to 2021. I just got out of the car. It looks not that bad, but when my wheel was in that, it actually dragged me down the whole street on the opposite side. So this picture here is another year, and if you go to the next one, it shows the height. I believe this one is 2008.
2019.
19
that
or-
was a flood year.
Yeah.
So all of our county roads were pretty in tough shape at that
And it was a while. It wasn't just for weeks I was trying to get to work. So that last picture, this is due to flooding and other rain. And these are way more deep than it looks. Go back one and you'll see that I marked it on my tire when I was in the rut. You can see where the white dashes are. That's the top of my tire. And so I actually had to drive on the opposite side of the road that week because nobody came out to plow it or whatever. But I have seen many people driving on the road and having a hard time just staying on the road when it starts skipping. So the last picture is current. And that's the washboard right now, right when you enter Leisure Avenue. And it's not just at the entrance, there's like 3 spots. And it actually creates a safety issue where the car starts skipping towards the ditch. And I'm going slow. If I go slow, it's worse. So I'm just letting you know that it's an actual safety issue, legit. It would be wonderful to have an oil-topped road. And most were concerned about taxes going up. And as far as I comprehended it, because of the road, your taxes don't go up due to the road. It does if somebody's house sells next to you and it's worth a lot. That's what, and I wanted to be clear, because I don't want to tell people something and then they say, oh, the road's going in, so taxes are going up. Because we're paying for the road. So it shouldn't go up. If the sales of houses go up, of course it's going to go up. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's some that were clear, there's 2 sides to that form, your assessment. And with the sale of houses, your assessment may go up. That doesn't necessarily always equate to your taxes going up, because there's other people out there, which are the school districts and the townships, and everybody else has levies that affect that, whether your taxes go up or not. So.
yeah, your tax levies are not going to be going up over any of this change whatsoever. But
your assessment, if your assessment goes up, and sometimes that's even dictated by the state when they come in and give equalization orders, that your assessment goes up, and that assessment is your value of your house, not the levies that the taxes are used to levy against that assessment.
Schools are the greatest amount of your taxes at this time, too.
And, you know, but to Teresa's point that she brought up,
Right.
I mean, the reality is that if this road is hard surfaced, the homes that are on that road are gonna be more desirable in the market. I mean, it's just that's just the reality of it. So, I mean, people want that country type living, they want some acres, I mean, it'll make that appealing, which will make your home valued, you know, and we talked about Mr. Cato just brought up that, you know, he's gonna be able to sell for premium dollars. So, I mean, it does have second, third order effects. It's just not necessarily realized right away. You know?
Right.
if you look at the average length of how long somebody's out there, it doesn't look like they're gonna be moving soon.
Sure, yeah, and I'm not,
Crescent Golden Hills Edition will hurt us more than this. That's the reality, because all those houses are going to sell in the next year or two. They're gonna be very expensive homes. That's where the turnover is going to come from, so.
we need your
All right.
name.
You're correct.
Anybody else speak in favor? Okay.
Eugene Aaronholtz, 25250 Lookout Lane. I want to repeat myself, some of the stuff I said earlier, but I really am enjoying the discussion. Going forward, you guys all did the due diligence and put it on pause to research this, and I really appreciate that. So whatever decision you come up with, I think that's great, because that's important to do it and to be progressive and go forward, but do something, but do it for the right reasons. And you set a precedence, and some things are outside the precedence, maybe, that I'll get to. One thing, though, to put things in perspective, with some of the comments I've heard, Mr. Clifton here was saying he wasn't aware of other people that wanted the road, but I noticed everybody out there, they like their privacy. There's not a lot of chatter maybe going on. And what I've experienced was probably the opposite, because there are so many people who are so excited about that road coming through, and for a variety of different reasons. And I guess I can see both sides of it coming and going. But the one word, and you brought it up first, Brian, equitable. That really makes sense. And how do you do it? And that can be somewhat flexible. If next time around you get somebody else to come up, and I look at that list, it's like, gee, many Christmas. I look at my numbers on there at the bottom of the list, and but to put that in perspective, one of the previous petitions that I put, I purposely left Warren Brewer off of it because I thought he's got farm ground. He doesn't have a mailbox there. He shouldn't have to pay. I should leave him off of it. And I did. And when I got all done, and then it was like, well, technically, legally, we can't do that. So I had to go back and redo it. But, bare farm ground, at some point in time, if somebody has bare farm ground, and they shouldn't have to, they can pay something. And that's why my idea is kind of a hybrid in here. Pay something for that bare farm ground, and everybody else that's left pay something. I don't know. But you know what? If somebody has a piece of bare ground and down the road sells at a higher price because they had made a good investment, good for them. That's what I'm thinking. And what a great thing that we live in a very desirable place when you stop and think about it. I mean, that's the problem we have to deal with, But he shouldn't, we have to do a snapshot of the here and the now. Here we are now, and what is the reality? What are the facts? And I listened to some of the comments from the first go-around here, and there's some interesting things. I did, when Stephanie's first petition did not go through, it was just like too big of a bite. We couldn't do that. So my idea was to make it just Lookout Lane. And but since then, the second petition to take it farther really makes sense. And turning around at the top of the hill, is a great place to do that. And all those people want it down there, except one, I think. And so that's also really positive. And at the previous session, I think it was Mrs. Bauer made the comment that she's been out there when there's a 1 foot deep rut going down that hill. Well, that's a safety issue anyway. But you know what? You live in the country, welcome to rural Iowa. You know what I'm saying? Part of that exists. But is that kind of an extreme place and on an extreme hill? Yeah, I think. And so it deserves some attention. Because if we have a 22-foot wide hard surfaced road, we're not going to have that issue. The other one is it's steep and slick. Well, if we get cleaned with not the maintainers, but the snowplows, they're going to do it quicker. And you know what? If they have to put a little salt going down that hill, they'll probably do it. I don't know, maybe they can't on that type of surface. I don't know. But, we have a lot better chance of controlling it and taking that out of the equation. And another thing on the equitable side of it, this last week I got side by side with my wife. We went up to the Twisted Tail. And I drove 30 miles on gravel roads. And I tell you what, guys, you've got a lot of really good gravel roads out there. I mean, there are a lot of roads out there that are wide and they're smooth. Yeah, they get some washboarding, but they're maybe not on the hills as much as we are. But there are a lot of good roads and there's an ample amount of gravel on it. And I'm just thinking, why can't I have that down on my little strip, that first half mile? I don't know how many of you have got to go out, and I know you mentioned that you were gonna do it, Justin, but if you've gone down that road to see what it is, that first half mile is bad, and now listening to my other neighbors, going up around the curve is just as bad. Well, you know what? The way I do it, I take my worst thing and I make it my best. Lift it and pull it up by the bootstraps. As far as being equitable, there's something wrong in the bottom of that hill. You probably have to go to China, to find another spot where they have these dynamics to deal with. But there's something there, and I don't know if it's all the calcium chloride that's been put down over all the years, but when we get a little bit of rain, it's like, and you take that calcium and you put it with the sand and the rock, there's something, and it's gone. They put rock down and it's gone. There's just something unique. I don't know if it's just the low soil or at the bottom of the hill, or there's spring there, one neighbor said. I don't know what it is, but a culmination of all that stuff put together means the dynamic on that 3/4 mile is different than what you have. And I would like to see the county step up to the plate. Hey, it's our problem. It's our problem and it's your problem. And you got people that are willing to pay to help fix it. But I think the county is obligated to up their ante to some point. Just, hey, make it equitable. Make it my road. Forget about the passability. It's so substandard right now. I think that there's some oomph in there to get it up to help fix the problem. Going forward, going over my list here, being equitable, making it so that a bare property owner pays something, but it's different than on valuation. And should it totally be on valuation? Well, I'm thinking if you take the rest of it and it's so much a person and so much, it doesn't have to be all cut and dried. You can give it on valuation, let you know what I think of that area, and sorry for the tax increase, Brian, but, but that's progress. That's the nature of where we're at going forward. We're in a very desirable place, and to do this and make more roads like this is just gonna make it better. The snow plow, putting the salt down is gonna make it safer. One thing too, somebody commented about the road traffic gonna be increased. Well, you know what, I think the road traffic is already there. I mean, yeah, it's gonna increase some, but we've got a lot of road traffic. And when I asked John about this, why can't my gravel road be as good as the other 30 miles of gravel road? He says, well, it's just because there's so much traffic. Well, if your county engineer is saying that, that's a point of reference too. I think we take all these point of references and give them a certain value.
John, if this road goes in and ends at the top of the hill, do you put gravel ends in a half mile or something at the sign at the bottom? Would that
Yeah,
be
when the surface change, we'll sign the surface change.
Sorry, I was wondering about that, because that'll help keep a lot of people from going for a drive in the country and don't want to be on the gravel,
They won't do it twice.
Bitch, you don't your mouse.
We get them out there, I'm telling you.
I always warn people who have never driven on gravel to treat it
Whoa.
as ice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to say, but thank you once again. The discussion is great, guys. Come on, that's what it's all about. And some of my neighbors, I would say we have opposing views on this here, but in reality, we need to remain civil about it, so.
Thank you. Anyone else speaking in favor?
Dwayne?
Yeah, I guess so. I won't preach. My other job is self-sustaining preacher.
Can you give me a name?
Name and address for the record.
So I won't,
Your address?
pardon?
Your address?
18022 Leisure Avenue.
Your name was Dwayne.
Pardon?
Your name's Dwayne.
Dwayne, yes.
Last name?
Reef.
Okay, thank you.
We've been out there for 47 years, before,
About 40, 42.
42, okay. And we've moved a modular in there and set it up. And over the years, we had to come to the county boards and get permission to keep it on there because somebody started a rumor that we were gonna make a mobile home court. And I had to bite my tongue that day because anybody that starts that kind of a rumor with an acre and a half of ground, they don't know very much. But yeah, that road gets bad, but just one thing you need to remember, there's traffic on that road 24/7. Now, why you think, I know I've been up in the middle of the night, see somebody going down the road or coming back up. And so I know in the middle of the night, you know, you wonder what they're doing. So we haven't had any problem with anything getting stolen, have we, Ron?
No, absolutely not.
No, so it's been safe. I don't know about the rest of the people on the east, going east, but they're talking about the road being so bad. It is. If you take and follow that road over to where Todd Myers live, that's about 2 miles roughly east of us. It's a big old hill there. And that thing is rough. I came down years ago in my mom's car and I put it in low gear and put on the brake and that was just eased her down. Because it was just that bad of a hill. I didn't want to wreck her car. She could.
Guess not.
But it is. I mean, it's a beautiful place out there. All of them are really nice. We're all taking care of our property and keeping the valuation up on it. And then have a great time out there, don't we? I mean, we just like to go out and listen to the birds sing and watch the deer run through our yards. So that's my thoughts on it. But I got to agree with everybody here on their desires for this hard surface or surfacing road to eliminate the dust, because we can't leave our windows open in the spring or the fall because of the dust. So I mean, she hadn't handed me the dishcloth yet, but she probably will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Can I just make a comment?
What's your name?
I have to stand up.
Yeah.
You say your name, fine.
My name is
Mrs. Reeve.
Kathy. I just was gonna say, if anyone wanted to complain about ruts, we probably had the biggest complaint when we had the flooding. I think it was during the flooding season.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and the water ran down. It cut such a groove in front of our driveway that we couldn't get in or out. And we had to get boards to lay down to drive into our driveway. And it took about a week or better, didn't it, for them to get out there and fix that?
No,
It wasn't something that got fixed right
Well,
away.
Our neighbors got some rock. And they brought it up and they put it across the front of the driveway.
But it wasn't the county, it was just.
They were inundated with repairs
Yes,
throughout.
yes. I called them and they said they would be there as soon as they could, but it was really something, so, every time, and it was mostly because all the water came down through the ditch and everything, and then it hit our drain tube and it hadn't thawed out yet. So then up over the road it went, and, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thank you, Kathy.
Anyone else speaking in favor? Seeing none.
I'll move close.
A second.
Close. Public hearing. Did we have a second?
I did.
Oh. Okay, roll call?
Chairman Bell.
Aye.
Supervisor Shea.
Yep.
Rickman. Schultz. And Groby.
Aye.
Yeah.
Leanne, if I may. If we take a look at the chart that's up there right now, give me a little history of how you came up with the minimum payment and where you came up with the 1% versus the 8 that holds is that.
If everything were divided evenly, it would be, everyone would pay 4%. So I kind of started with that concept that the property values in the middle would be paying 4%. And then kind of just expanded both ways from there to figure out what worked, honestly. There's no specific mathematical formula for it, but I also kind of looked at what the percent of value was for the whole district, and then kind of broke it down from there. I thought for the smaller properties, you know, as was mentioned, I think everybody should pay some minimal amount. And once I realized there were some smaller parcels in there, I put 1% on those, and then you'll see that it breaks from the 1% to 2%, happens to be at Teresa McKern, where the percent of her value is also just a tad over 2%, and then kind of kept it there. Once it got to 2.55%, upped it to 3%, and then just kind of kept going until you get to the end, so that I would have a total of 100%. And that's why it ended up with 8% on Aaron Holtz, even though their property value is 11.73% of, you know, all of the properties in that district, proposed district.
So when these individuals decided in favor of this particular assessment, not assessment, improvement project,
Yes?
the actual number they were provided at that time was what?
There were two numbers. I don't think I have the.
Mitch has it.
Okay. There were two numbers they were provided because there were two proposals, and one was over 5,000, the other one was a little over.
Right.
There we go.
What I'm getting at, Leanne, is the petition that was provided to these individuals, give them a estimated dollar amount for the cost of the project?
Yes. So the one was the 5,112, and the other one was 6,997. So looking at that, the majority of the parcels on my spreadsheet would be paying less than what they signed off for.
Do you think if the board were to consider, not this one, but the one that you proposed on the percent, that wouldn't change how people voted when presented the petition?
I can't say that for certain, you know, but perhaps those who realized that they weren't going to be paying, you know, 5,000 or 6,000, instead they're only paying, you know, 1,100 or 2,300, perhaps they would have voted in favor of it. I don't know.
Would we have to re-petition?
No.
Okay.
No. Technically, the petition doesn't have to have the dollar amount on it. That is something that John does, because if you're going to petition for it, you're going to kind of want to know how much you're going to be paying for it. So he, you know, provides the estimate at that point. This board does have the opportunity to determine the apportionment and change the apportionment from what was originally stated.
So, again, referencing this chart right here, if we were to take a look and another petition was coming forward, your recommendation is to have a pre-petition meeting?
Yes, we're talking about having a pre-petition meeting where we would kind of address some of these issues and look at, you know, if it's kind of a subdivision where most of the properties are going to be about the same value, it makes sense to just everybody pays the same amount. But when you have a proposed district like this, where you've got a significant discrepancy between the least valued property and the highest valued property, it doesn't make as much sense that everybody pay the same share, and instead figure out some sort of scaled values on it. You know, a minimum amount of some sort, and then just kind of work it from there to figure out what percentage. And I partly did the scaled thing so that instead of 24 different taxing rates that we have for the auditor and the treasurer to be looking at, it breaks it down a little bit. I think I've got, 6 or 7. It's still quite a few, but it just kind of made a little more sense to me to do it this way.
John?
Aye.
How do you feel that that works with the valuations?
I worked on something similar to this and liked Leanne's better. I had it split out 60% by parcel and 40% by valuations. And my numbers are pretty similar to hers, but the issue I had was every parcel had a unique tax portion in it. So there's 25 tax tables to go with that. So hers is a little more convenient, I guess, that it reduced that, but.
All right.
When you say parcel, you were just talking about the size of the parcel?
The tax apportionment to the parcel, so each parcel would be completely unique, and she kind of bracketed stuff in, which I probably could have went back and added that, but yeah, I had something similar.
Help me understand, just real quick, and Tim, I think I had a closing another thought, but I just wanna make sure I understand the interest rate, so we figured out 1 point whatever percent, you said it's a simple tax?
It is, it's a simple interest rate, so if they pay it off, they're not paying that interest rate. If they pay it off early, they're not paying that interest rate through the life of it. And the interest rate's not reflected there. So some of the things that you need to give us direction are the interest rate, the county participation, and which direction you'd like to see, then.
For that?
You can do a road assessment bond, but I think I would keep that first if you're looking at some major road district. You know, the total cost to the county, if you look at the bottom, I should hope that that would be enough that John has it in his budget and it wouldn't be something that he would need you guys to bond.
I appreciate your efforts on this, man. I think it's a template, I think, that we can work with, moving forward with the pre-petition meeting, getting everybody together so they know ahead of time how we'll work this out. I'm still, you know, I hate to, the people that said no, I hate to levy them or ask them to pay. But, yes, I guess that's the way it is, if we're gonna move forward with it. I don't think it's fair not to.
What I would like you to do today is to just decide whether or not you're going to establish the assessment district. And then give us some guidance on, you know, how much the county's gonna put in and what you want for an interest rate. And then next week we can come back and we'll have the actual rate tables for the individuals. And at that time, you can do the apportionment and, you know, have everything finalized. That would not be a public hearing because the public hearing was today. It's just, we need to have the final numbers, and right now we don't. We just kind of have a number of proposals, but we need direction from you guys before we can do the final numbers.
Well, I personally like this.
I do too. I'm in on that.
With the county at 30%.
Okay.
That's a fair and equitable way.
I just want to make it real clear before we move forward, the word, because I think the word precedent is, I mean, I don't want to discount what you guys have brought up and said about it, but I personally would like to treat these situations case by case. So there's a different road that's out there, maybe that group, we only pay 20%, or, you know, I don't want to set the precedent that it's always going to be 30% going forward. That's not going to be the case.
You know,
And you know what, maybe I'm not here to tell you that. I don't know.
John, it's from, actually, so we know you have from 0 to 50%, right?
Right.
Okay.
So the 30 is
I
based
usually
on.
compromise, and trust me, I'm in, and I've said this from the beginning, I want, you know, more skin in the game here as a county. I just don't want people to think that, well, just because this group gets 30%, if we move forward, that, you know, it's gonna be the case everywhere, because it's not gonna be the case.
John had mentioned, I'm sure you recall that, you know, his number, his percentage was based on traffic count, right? And if we stick with that.
It's easy.
It is easy.
And it's a lot easier to not have our, you know, in fairness, when the code said 100% petitioner, then it was really easy to not give any of these services, because it just, you know, it's very difficult to get to 100%. It's very difficult to get the percent here with this, so.
I think I think the process should be difficult. Difficult for us, difficult for the petitioners.
Yeah.
You know, it would really be nice to get to a point where somebody comes in and you say, gosh, don't have the money. You know, that could happen. You know, if enough roads come through that Secretary of Roads doesn't have the money to do it. And, I mean, that's probably not gonna happen in the next 10 years, so I won't be on the board when that happens. So, is that what you wanted to hear from us? Do you want a special motion for anything?
I heard two of you say 30% and Justin.
30 if we.
Okay.
If we want
I
to
would
move
make
forward,
a
guys, I'm
motion.
for 30.
Well, you need to approve the district first, you know. I think what you're doing is you're approving the proposal with modifications, the modification being that you're going to be using a scaled apportionment. So we would need that done first, and then the apportionment part is second. You're looking at me like you're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, like, I guess what you're saying is we can figure out the interest rate after this motion?
Yes, you approve the district, establish the district first, then you do the apportionment.
Approve the district.
And that's with all the parcels that I have listed here?
Correct.
Okay.
Making a motion to approve the district as proposed on, what do you want to call that? The presented spreadsheet.
You wanna help us out on the motion there, Leanne?
Actually, all of these parcels were listed on the petitions.
Okay.
So it'd be
Motion,
including all of the parcels in the petition.
all the parcels in, of the original petition.
Petitions, yeah, because there were two.
Okay, the motion, Mr.
Yes.
Okay,
That doesn't need to include the percentage that.
Not yet, because right now you're just establishing the district.
all right.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Grovey, second. Mr. Grovey, second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
And now what I need is just direction going forward. It sounds like you guys want the county to pay 30%, the residents to pay 70%. We talked about 1.6% interest rate. Is that what you guys were looking at then?
John, was it 1.4 or 1.6?
1.6. What
1.6.
happens to that money? We're 1.6%, we're talking peanuts in some of these cases, but some it's real money. What happens to that money when this is over?
So I'm gonna pay for the initial work, then it's gonna take me 10 years to recover the cost. So the interest rate's really there in case I have to bond for this. I won't be
We're not gonna
bonding.
bond for this.
I'm not bonding.
Better than that. I guess my point, I guess where I'm going with this is like, I'd be more in favor of putting the interest rate on there, but when it's over, credit it back from the last year. Something to that
Don't
effect.
know that you can do that.
I'd rather you just do zero.
Are we required to charge an interest?
We don't have to have interest on it. I just think
You
it's.
don't. That's different from what I told you Friday. You don't have to have interest. There's a maximum interest rate, not a minimum.
I don't see anything that we're gaining by charging the interest rate, because we're not gonna bond for this road. We're not going to. So I don't see the purpose of slapping any extra percent on top of what we've already gonna be charging these folks. And I realize that this now, to some that, it pays for a gas tank or two for some folks, but, I don't see the need to have an interest rate on it.
I'll second that.
That's at the full cost of the county paying $56,000. We would earn $560 a year in interest. That is awesome.
Ready being facetious?
Yeah, I am.
I just don't, what's the point? If it truly was going to do something that I felt really benefited this project in the grand scheme, I'd say, yeah, let's move forward, but I don't. I don't think we're gonna get to a situation where we need to bond for this specific road. I don't ever see that happening.
I would agree with you. Let's do it that
We're
way.
smarter about the way we handle our budget, we always have been, and I trust the process that we've got in place, so I don't see the need to put that back on the taxpayers, so
If we were bonding for a big project, I would agree.
I don't know what you need to.
I agree with what you're
That,
saying.
that interest rate could come into play if it's a much larger project
Mhm.
that took $500,000.
No, I agree, but here I just don't.
And, you know, chances of bonding for it are slim and none. And none just walked out that door, or Slim did. So you got that, Leanne?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we need
We're
a
gonna
motion
move-
on anything
I'll make
else?
a motion that the county pay 30%. We do this with a no interest. to
I'll
the-
second.
To the homeowners and based.
Parcel owners.
Parcel owners, based on the cost breakdown provided to us at this
Tim?
hearing. What?
What if you have that you motion that the county pay 30% and have 0% interest rate and the final apportionment be next Tuesday?
Yeah, what time would you like that? 10?
10 o'clock would work for me.
We'll do that.
Is that okay?
That works.
You got that motion?
I've got Wickman and Shea second to county's contribution is 30% and 0%, charging 0% interest. Final portion will be, next Tuesday. Determined. That's what I was writing.
The apportionment.
Leanne, thanks for your work
Set
on this. I
Tuesday,
know it's been a head
14th.
scratcher for quite a while.
So I got just a comment, I'm gonna say a swear word, I'm really sorry for this, but John, don't let this road go to shit. Cause I mean it, this is not, the reality is that we're doing something that's been at least unprecedented since I've been on the board, and it's been a long time since we've had these things go. So if we're gonna move forward with this, and these folks are putting their dollar on the line, this road needs to stay maintained, and it needs to not go to crap. So I'm making that statement now in public because I don't wanna see it go to crap in 2 years from now. So make sure we're maintaining it, make sure we're doing it right.
I think John will do it right.
I have confidence in
I
our
do too.
roads team, and we'll be in good shape.
So we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Okay. Is that all we need, Leanne?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one question, it's really just a clarification for me. So by voting on the district,
Right.
is that basically saying, yes, we approve improvement of Leisure Avenue
Yes.
up to Chalet Lane? And then next week, it's just a final vote on the apportionment?
Yes.
But basically, we're saying, yes,
This will be real close to that.
this is gonna be close, but you've voted that, yes, we are gonna improve it.
Yes.
Do you at some point talk about a time frame?
That guy right next to you.
Yeah, that'll all come in when we do bidding and.
Do the bidding and all of that?
Usually it's midsummer, correct? July or August?
All right.
It'll be July, August.
Yeah, all right, I'm good, thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for and against.
Get her in, buddy.
Well, sign me next week.
5-minute break.
I do.
I do.
Full call.
So put it on pause or whatever.
Just Leanne's filibuster number.
Wilbur, can you?
Sure.
Wilbur, can you give me that? Thank
Hey, I like that John, you did that hard.
Yes, exactly. It's gonna hurt me.
Well, years back when you were working nights and that, I found your driveway. I'd get out there, there'd be that fence. I had to go in. I just couldn't push it out, this way. I did the best I could.
Appreciate you doing that. I don't read the labels every day. You did a good job.
We're breaking for a couple minutes here.
Seen that? Yeah. Get panels up today?
I didn't see any activity first thing this morning, but.
Yeah. Haven't been out there yet. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Trying to decide if we're gonna put a pole, because we moved the pole out there. I don't know if we want to keep it. I was thinking about putting a pole up over there for a camera.
Did you?
Yeah, there's that wood pole. Yeah, we can't put it on their pole, they won't let us. Frown upon that, but. We're gonna look at some options here.
There's not much light.
Remember, came and they put lighting on the poles for us.
Oh, they did?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so we've got like 150 watt LEDs
Oh.
shining to the west off of one on each on 3 poles there. Then we got a 250 watt flood going into the center parking lot, shining off to the east off that center pole.
Nice. Okay.
So I think we're gonna be adequately lit.
Yeah.
So,
No, I didn't realize. I guess I didn't notice that. I should have.
yeah, I don't know when they did it, I just called them, asked them if they'd do it, and shit, I think they were out there that week doing it.
Never happens.
Yeah, added like $20 to her.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, that's more cheaper than putting in 3 poles.
All right. Go a long time before you recoup that. Except, yeah, it doesn't help to look at it.
Yeah.
They put it in the elections building there.
You know, that's an option. You're not gonna be able to see everything.
Right.
No, it's not. So I don't know what we're gonna wind up doing. Like, it would be convenient to have camera coverage a lot just because of traffic and stuff, and monitoring the parking. We had the free pool.
I'm afraid I just family holidays,
Thinking about putting the pole up, cut it down to whatever height would be optimal.
And what we do to get around that is you can require them, they want to pay over 10 years, they have to sign.
We would just board probably into the election building and run some data out there. I think that's,
Otherwise, everything,
So
if they sue us before they sign.
building used for is for the elections and some storage.
Well, and then, when
storage
the
the ballot machines.
the deputies still act like a union.
That's it.
Plan to keep it forever and.
Everybody else can act like a union.
I don't know.
For a while.
You hear them getting different ideas about it.
But we kinda kept some
That's
language.
Milton's
But
baby.
if they sue us, it also, I mean,
They've kind of,
everything's due and payable at once.
okay, not gonna only replace it or use it for something else, they're just gonna take it up.
I think we are.
Yeah.
With
Yeah,
anybody
that's
saying.
okay, we'll buy Primer House someday.
Oh, true.
We just
It's been a fight over there.
It's my insurance agent, so that's easy.
You don't get to
Not across the street.
Did you read the check?
She's probably gonna retire.
Well, it's true, true.
This just goes out to Chalet Lane? This assessment? Okay. Was there another one that going from Chalet on over to Blue Whale? No?
That was a demo.
Well,
Okay, I thought there was a second one.
The services building demo?
Where it's at.
That is expensive.
Laboring is kind of, because
Sore thumb.
all their people
I don't know.
They all do private.
Hello.
Unions
Hi,
and roles.
Brian, how are you?
And so you're trying to.
So what's
No,
the,
listen, you can't do that, this is Iowa public sector, this is whatever.
Yeah.
And they don't
So I
get
get my
that, they wanna come in and do the Jimmy Hoffa shit, yeah.
when the, start working?
Yeah, They've removed the rock from the roof and the insulation from the roof. Yeah, it is. It really is. It pisses you off, but.
It's out of your hands, right?
I don't know, pretty much is.
I didn't, you know, we sit and talk.
They're in talks with possibly building a public health, building there. And Mount Wayne's kind of spearheading that.
They built the big house, and I agreed with you, you know.
Have an alley pointer draw
I remember
some plans right now.
he's not gonna build houses, he's gonna farm.
Chapter 20 says 3% back. Well, they did, they hired field day managers, you know, properly get the project management.
We don't know what'll happen tomorrow.
They put out an RFP to 4 different architectural firms, you get one of them. And they didn't put the water already, and now it's clear. Yeah. So, yeah, we had a meeting with them, about a month ago, kind of doing a rough space. Programming. Yeah, stage party. But I mean.
It does? Well, no, this says it's paused.
You might be in here down the road before we start.
And I feel like
I'm ready. You wanna talk about roads or you wanna talk about?
We're gonna talk to Jason first, then you're up.
Oh, okay. Jason freaking preempted me?
Let's see, let's get Justin in here, get this going.
I definitely would've said Jeff goes first.
Leanne, you really helped on that, I do appreciate that. Help a lot.
That's what you can call your challenge for the day.
It'd be interesting to see, John,
For and against.
how other counties are doing this process. I mean, that chapter is pretty, Iowa code chapter.
It is, I looked at Lynn County because they had everything online. I checked with the Attorney General's office and didn't really get any further information back on them. I think Lynn County does it similar to what the sanitary improvement districts in Nebraska are done, where you have a subdivision and then they do the road improvement as part of that to pay for the road in the subdivision. But
Can we do, does the county do Schmids?
Yeah, I think, is that what they call them?
There's a difference in Iowa.
It wasn't a Schmid, it was, they had one up in
Improvement
the,
district?
they had one up in.
Can we do a Schmid for a parking lot? Yeah, I thought we were on this parking lot.
Oh, no.
yeah.
Yeah, are we going?
Okay.
It's recording.
It's recording?
It says it's recording. We're still on the phone, still on too, if anybody is.
Director, Buildings and Grounds, discussion, decision to approve change order number 2 for election building parking lot.
This
Go
is,
ahead, Jason.
this is a change order in the amount of $7,010. The plans that the city had provided had indicated that the pipe, the sewer pipe was actually 10 feet to the west, and they're gonna have to actually go farther to get to the pipe, close down a lane on South Sixth Street. We're gonna have to patch that concrete when they're all done, so it's an extra 10 foot.
How deep is that?
I'm not sure what the depth is on that.
About 6 feet, 5, 6 feet.
We should drain pretty good out of there.
Storm sewer, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the plans weren't quite correct, is that right?
Truck out there this morning.
Where was our mess up there?
Well, on the locate, the field locates showed it on the back of curb, which made it real easy to tie in. Well, it's like Jason said, it's 10 feet under the paving, so then it gets into that through lane, and then you gotta shut the lane down, and the city had no way of locating where it's at, cause it doesn't have a tracer wire, and they just drew a line between the 2 inlets on both ends of the.
Know what that guy was looking at this morning? There was a
Yes.
truck out there.
Yes.
With a flashlight, the camera.
Yep, so.
Yeah, they're gonna have to shut a lane down and put a
How
directional
long's that
board
gonna
up.
be?
They said they should have it up and going by Friday, possibly. We may
Yeah.
be able to park there starting Monday if everything goes
I'll
great.
make a motion to approve.
They were vacuuming out one of the.
Storm
I
drains or
don't know
sewer?
I don't know which one it was, out towards the corner of Fifth Avenue.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor
any of,
officials.
any of this change order improving anything for the city?
Other than just patching the street back where we had to cut the street out.
What, those, when they stripe those lots, it's all the same width and stuff, right? There's
It's
no,
9-foot by 18-foot parking stalls is pretty much standard.
that's, I mean, that's pretty much everywhere, right? Of all of our other lots.
Well,
and
except in
stuff.
the old market, I think it's about 6 feet.
I think it's 5'5".
No,
But there's, 9's pretty typical in all construction and.
That's what those are over there, right?
Yeah, it's the same as the VA lot.
Okay.
Yep.
You can have compact stalls, but you have to mark them and they can be 8 feet, but I don't know if I've seen that around here, so.
I don't know. I don't know, come to the
Big
city, the
cities.
stalls are real narrow over there, and I said, well, I'm sure they're the same as
You know, somebody
everywhere else.
came to me with that same comment, but they're 9 foot by 18. It's industry standard, I think, pretty much for that, so.
The real wide one's 10 foot, so.
Okay, any other discussion? Is this probably the last of it then?
Should be.
That pile of gravel over there, is that part of this project?
Yes,
Yeah, that's going in, I think, as fill for the drain, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
it's part of the drain into the storm sewer.
Okay.
Is this the last one?
Yes.
I'm not sure that's wood.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. There it is, motion passes. Okay, next up.
Done?
Thank you.
Hey, before you leave, could I ask you, how we doing? That looks good out there.
It'd probably be another 2 more weeks, 2 more weekends of work
Oh,
before it's
really?
finally complete. Yeah, but, we'll be putting some temporary lighting in there this week. And, that way that's ready to go. We'll have to ground the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still probably, they may be close to being done this Sunday, but I don't know if they're not certain they're gonna be completely done yet,
Okay,
so.
one more question.
Yeah.
It looks like he's got the roof all set. He's been inside that building. Have you talked to him lately?
I talked to him today.
It sounds like he's gonna start knocking it in.
Bobcat's gonna go through the wall today.
Yeah.
He's all on board.
Says he's gonna try and knock a lot of it down over the weekend, or start,
Good.
so we don't have a bunch of complaints, so.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jeff Poulin, Chief Deputy, Sheriff's Office.
Have you hung out long enough?
Sure.
Shanna
I
Limerick.
got Leisure Lane all figured out.
Shanna Limerick, Director, HR, discussion and or decision to approve jail captain and detention administrative manager job descriptions. Take it away. Who's taking away? You, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it's fairly simple. We're going from 3 to 2. I think the sheriff has had some informal conversations with all of you. You all know how we got to this point, so I don't need to regurgitate that. The plan of attack is, and this is not unprecedented, we've done this before. It was done in 2010 when Jeff Danker sent Reynolds down to 911 as a captain to take over that area because of some of the internal issues that were going on. So we're sending a sheriff's sworn person over to the jail to run the jail. We put them on what we had proposed, the first step of that captain's pay, which is less than what the jail administrator was making. They started on the pay scale on Monday. It was Monday, our payroll period?
Saturday.
Saturday. The 2 positions that were below that, we have eliminated. The jail captain is gonna be in charge of all operations within the jail. The new position is an administrative coordinator position that will take care of all the non-operations things that happen in the jail. Jana and I have had payroll discussions about 2.5 above what a jail supervisor makes. That's somewhere in the vicinity of $42.72 an hour. The incumbents in the day, we're making 44.33 an hour with longevity. That does not include longevity. So the pay steps will start lower than the other positions, but this is a whole new way of looking at how this jail's run. This person is mainly a compliance person that's going to run all the jail standards, all those kinds of things, but will have nothing to do with the actual operations of the jail. The operations will come directly from the captain or whatever we're gonna call that position. Right now, it's jail captain. So those two job descriptions are in front of you, and I'll let Jana discuss whatever she has.
And they have the most recent version 4.0?
I don't know if they got it yet. Matt's got it.
Yeah, I didn't forward it on. But
Okay, I'm sorry.
I have copies. So Jeff and I have gone back and forth a couple different times.
You know, it's not, I'm not picking on you or Jeff or Leanne or anybody really, but when there becomes multiple copies out there, it just, what is this?
This is the most recent version of the Detention Administrative Coordinator.
Isn't that what was in our?
No.
We were still fighting it at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, back and forth.
But, you know, if this one I see has red lines in it or shadows or whatever, that's where it becomes very.
You like to see the legislative version with the changes?
Well, I mean, to go through it again and look for what was changed, I mean, it was like this 28E today, you know, try to find what was changed in it, if it was changed, and.
We need that highlighted.
When they say draft, I mean, just, when there's that much stuff floating out there, and it's in your emails, sometimes it's just, you hope you looked at the right one. I'm kind of speaking for myself, I guess.
In my defense on the 28E, you have to read the email, which said it's in section 6, paragraph 5 is the
Right.
addition, and you guys requested that after that draft had already been submitted. So, you know, I didn't give you a red line version because I put right in the email,
Right,
I've
no,
added the language you requested in section 6,
Like I
paragraph
said,
5.
it's not you
He's not calling anyone
specifically,
out
it's
except
just,
he is.
Yeah.
It understood, it makes
I mean,
sense.
it's just, I don't know.
And it also
Don't
would
make
be
last minute
helpful if
changes.
we had the job description, we had the pay range, all of that stuff approved before we put the person in the position.
I would agree with that.
That didn't happen here, right?
We have a proposed pay range. She and I have been going back and forth about it, but it's essentially a 2.5 above the lower position, and then the steps across at 2.5.
I didn't see that, but, I believe it.
No, we want to get it locked in because we want to advertise fairly quickly on this.
I thought you said they already started.
No, this is all
Oh,
proposed.
just the captain?
And your captain is?
Captain has started.
Steve Lynch.
Captain has started?
Yeah, but he's just in an acting position. We haven't called him captain, we haven't called him anything.
Did the pay go with it?
The captain's pay went with it, not the jail administration pay.
Is that on the receive and file today, the status change form? Because really, if you think about it, I think what Jeff is saying is that that's out of class pay
Yes.
for Mr. Winchell until the board approves this. But yeah,
My understanding is that the sheriff had a discussion in closed session with you guys about this 2 weeks ago or a week ago. That he could get the acting pay, but you didn't want to approve the captains, lieutenants, all that Baker Tilly stuff that went with it. And I wasn't there, so I'm just telling you, I'm telling you what the boss told me.
Correct.
we do this, and I'll follow up with Linda to make sure that status change gets.
I don't disagree with you, but it didn't happen that way, and, you know,
Did you make motion?
No.
I don't think we need one.
Jana's talking about this.
We're approving the job description.
That was right. Right
So so I think if we break it into the different jobs, the captain position, that job description that you have had hasn't changed. And Do you have the wage in front of you, the scale?
Well, I know the sheriff talked to you guys last time about, captains would go, step one would be, 48.16 an hour, all the way up to a step 4 to 52.62 an hour. And again, I think that was done on the 2.5 above the lieutenants, based on the Baker Tilly, not current lieutenants.
That's the captain, correct?
That's the captain.
All right.
So that position has not existed since John Reynolds left it 8 years ago, whatever it was.
And this pay scale doesn't exist either.
No,
so
no.
We are creating this and we'll have to assign a number to it and such. And I know, with our different pay scales, we have 10 steps, 11 steps, deputies, I think have 8 steps, 6 or 8, I can't remember exactly. And this is 4, but it does make sense to have it 4. I mean, based on the level and the higher up the pay, if you keep going, if we went out 10 steps, we'd be overpricing this job.
Well, and basically you would have a guy or girl taking this job that's probably got 15, 20 years on the department. If you put a 10-step out, they would never, ever get there. They would long be retired.
Right, and so Jeff does make a really good point in regards to the captain, the way that the job description is written and the experience that is already needed. Someone would be coming in at this pay that this isn't gonna be a huge increase for them because they've already been working here and in higher level positions. It's a pay increase as it should be, but it falls in line with the structuring. Any
So
questions on the
eliminating one
captain?
position.
We're essentially
You eliminated
taking.
3, but came back with 2, so we
Right.
see quite a savings there for you to do.
Right, and the position that we're hiring for, the coordinator position, will start at less than the incumbents were at the other job. So there'll be a savings there. And this out of pay, or whatever we want to call what Winchell's getting right now, is less than what the jail administrator made. We wanted to start him on that acting captain's pay because that's what would happen if we approve the captain's rank and pay scales down the road.
And when we're talking about, well, is there any question on the captain's job description and pay? 48.16 to 52.62. Okay, so then in regards to the detention administrative coordinator, so not only did we go from 3 positions to 2 positions, it's a different position. So it's not as though we had 2 detention managers and now we're going down to 1. This is a detention administrative coordinator. And so if you take a look at the job description that you have there in front of you, there are a lot of changes. So it is a different role than what it was. And Jeff, tell me your starting salary for this one?
I think on this one, at the 2.5, if we rate it.
42.12.
42.72, and I took it out to step 4 to 46.
Yes. But I agree with you on that. We can't take that out to 10 steps either.
Yeah. Again, we see this as seasoned people applying for this type of job.
And so we'll create that step and grade as well, which today doesn't exist.
Do you need a motion for job descriptions?
So move.
Make that motion, go ahead.
Second, I don't care. If you're doing it.
Was it Shay Schultz or Schultz Shay?
Doesn't matter.
Schultz Shay.
No, it doesn't matter. I'd like to get things right.
No comment.
So,
No, I'm looking at it.
Ooh,
What?
I was just looking at the next one. So you'll have to let me speak on that, Mitch.
Okay, all All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion passes.
Jeff, that was a good job on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's been not a pleasant couple of weeks for us out there, so we're just trying to
Well, thanks for your work.
get the boat righted.
Okay. Next up, we have Mitch Kay, Budget and Finance Director. Discussion and decision on to approve quote from ARCA Search, is that how you pronounce that? For digital archival of Board of Supervisors minute books for $20,899.
So we had this gentleman from Marcus Search come visit with me and Andrew a few weeks back. And he basically went through, looked at all the books, counted how many pages we have in our records. These are all the board minutes, and it would include all the signature copies and stuff like that. All the images or all the pages will be indexed and then searchable. The initial cost is that $20,899 with, I think there's about a $1,500 annual fee that comes with that to keep it hosted. Now, as soon as he's done with the images, we get an immediate hard copy of all of them. So if we decide we don't want to have it hosted anymore, we still have the physical data going all the way back to the late 1800s or whatever.
Do we
it is.
keep the physical paperwork?
Yeah, he's gonna keep the physical paperwork. It doesn't leave the building. He comes here with his cameras and all of his software, and does everything here. It might take 4 or 5 months, so I think this is a pretty fair price.
So where's he gonna work out of?
There is the empty office over by HR. I was thinking maybe that one, or I don't know if he wants to be in the little boardroom.
Jim, you look puzzled.
Maybe. I mean, just somewhere.
I was going
Just
to offer
somewhere.
that on you. That would be just fine.
How long did you say it was gonna take?
Well, so once he gets started, I think you said it'd take maybe 3 or 4 months. But obviously, so this is ARPA qualified, so he is very busy right now. So if approved, he would probably start sometime within the next 12 months.
So this will let you keyword search and do all that fun stuff?
Everything. If you want to search by a resolution number, if you happen to know it, you wouldn't. But otherwise, you just typed in any keyword you want, you'd get it. Melvin, what do you want to add?
Well, yeah, I wish I'd have known you were actively working on this, because in the safe in my office is microfilm of all of those images. That might lower the cost. I knew he'd heard that he was in here and had talked to Andrew, but I didn't know anything was actively going on.
There's microfilm of what image?
All the books from, I don't know, I looked at them, one said 1890 or 1901 on it, so.
And I don't know if that gains anything, because
I
you
don't
still
know
have to
whether-
take a photo of it to digitally be able to make those words
Easier
searchable.
for him, I don't know. Well, I'll go dig those out.
I mean, I can ask him if it changes anything for him.
Yeah.
To update this annually too. So basically, like as we take our digital images of the minutes already, once a year, we would then send them over to him. And he said it'd be roughly between $300 and $400 to add each new year, assuming we give him a digital copy of everything.
Plus the 15.
Plus the 15. And, and maybe we only want to update it every 2 years. I mean, we can do it that way, because, the rest of the minutes are still searchable through the board's website, but they just wouldn't have the signatures and the actual hard copies and stuff like these things that they're going to do here. The other thing that we can work on with them, because we're looking for, a little bit of protection on some of these costs and stuff like that, is he's had a couple other counties have asked that, we can do like 3 years at a time, so we lock our price in. He was also open to, if we want to put a cap on, like it can't go more than a 5% increase per year on those annual fees and stuff too, so we can get a little protection that way.
Well, while he's down here, when I first met the guy last summer, he was gonna look at the drainage books. They haven't been digitized yet. That's why he came down. He looked at the drainage books and then went over, talked to Andrew, but I hadn't heard anything from him
This guy
since.
here?
Yeah, and I know he's planning on meeting with the recorder, I think, this week.
Thursday.
Thursday?
And I haven't
Thank
heard
you.
anything, unless Linda heard anything.
So didn't the recorder use some kind of scanning person already?
They have the images digitized already. They have the books digitized. So we're meeting with them Thursday to talk about indexing them and hosting a website to make those images searchable.
And the employees, your employees digitized it, right?
I believe it was hired out.
Oh, okay.
The indexing has been done in-house, but it's
Okay, the
just,
indexing was done in-house, got it.
And then didn't you do some scanning over there in your office?
Well, the scanning had been done years ago by Image Tech, but they'd never been indexed. Now, COT Systems has those images. They did have to come back because Image Tech had missed some, about 4 or 5 or 6 books. He had to come down and get those images. And we're still waiting on the final product.
You're using who?
COT Systems.
Okay.
And there's some of that stuff is already up on the website. They've got a little cleanup to do and get
So
those
where,
other
who's
images.
hosting your images?
COT Systems hosted. But they had to do, they're doing all the indexing. And then the drainage books were the last things that needed image. That's when I got to talking to the ArcaSearch guy last summer. And I sent him on over to see Andrew.
What is it, does,
So when he is down, I need to talk to him about doing those drainage books also.
with David, Mayor, does it look like something we should be doing like we did with the printers and get all these hosted in the same?
Same, because basically what they do, they'll create a link on the website.
Right.
On our website for them to go into the searchable database. I mean, we can try to coordinate to see if everybody gets hosted.
I know one of the possibilities is to co-host, if the recorder decides to go forward with ArcaSearch, it could be co-hosted with the board's minutes and be all on the same database.
We have minutes available right now electronically that are searchable.
Through 96 or 95, I believe.
Yeah, so we shouldn't have to go back, we shouldn't have to redo all those. Why
That would just put them into the database. The way they are right now is essentially just a giant PDF. So you can't search through like the decade. You have to go year by year and search.
Unless $20,000, if it gets it, they get it, let's just search, let's just get it done.
Well, let me get those,
I just think.
I'll get with you, Mitch, and get those,
Try to figure out some of the co-hosting
those
stuff.
microfilm and let him know that those exist.
Not have all these different vendors
And so I said, we'll have a hard copy of the files.
storage.
So we can always
It's a lot
pay.
less than what the auditor spent on his stuff.
Well, I think
A
it's
lot
less,
less.
no, I think it's less than what recorder's been on his.
Well, if we move forward with this, let's see how it turns out. I don't really wanna lock in a 3-year deal until I know this actually works. You know what I mean? I mean, if it sucks and we're gonna have to.
1 year deal,
Back
back
to
done, we
this
have our images, and I even, even in reality, for 20,000, to have a digital copy of all the books going back to the 1800s, I still think that's just well worth it on top of it, so.
Yeah, I think it's good to do. I'll make a motion to approve,
Well, I'm sure that.
for ArcaSearch, the amount of $20,899. Two come from
motion,
ARPA.
Second.
Well, okay.
I did.
Second, Shay. They, I thought they gave, well, they didn't, I thought, was there references they gave of other clients?
Yeah, I don't remember which one.
I thought,
He
okay.
walked Mitch and I through a couple other counties' websites
Okay.
just to see it.
It was really nice.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those
Well, he
opposed?
might be, if I get those microfilm to Mitch, maybe he might be able to do it cheaper, but we'll see.
When those microfilms were made.
I don't know. I think Doug Primer showed those in the safe. They might be. Yeah, I don't know what quality they are.
Okay, did you get that?
Yes. I got Schultz and Jay.
I'd like the motion to approve the payment to NACO membership for 2022, the amount of $1863.
Okay. Shay, any discussion?
No, I'm just everyone's where I am looking at trying to go in the 2022 legislative cycle to do it again. I mean, I'm assuming they will, but. You hear anything, Melvin?
I'd like to see our capital open back up for us, is what I'd like.
Yeah. maybe you and I can walk around again, see how far we can get before we get caught.
Well, I think it's open. If you're escorted in, I think you're all right.
I don't think you're allowed in the House and the Senate.
Oh, into the
Capitol
chambers?
building. No,
Into, oh, in the Capitol, okay. I was thinking Russell and,
You gotta get the tickets from the.
Russell and Hart buildings.
Wickman and I walked, we got pretty much all the way. And then someone stopped us and asked us what tour we were with, and we're like, we're not. Someone look at the statues, and they kicked us out.
Wasn't my idea.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign, hearing none, motion passes. Okay, next up, we have Mitch Kai again, Budget and Finance Director, discussion and decision to approve and authorize the board to sign resolution 120, 2021, entitled authorizing Pot County, Iowa to enter into a settlement agreement with McKinson Corporation, Cardinal Health Inc., Amerisource Bergen Corporation, Johnson Johnson, Janssen Pharmaceutical Inc., Ortho McNeil Janssen Pharmaceutical Inc., and Janssen Pharmaceutical Inc. Agree to the terms of the Iowa opioid allocation memorandum of understanding and authorizing entry into the memorandum of understanding.
I'll move that for you, Scott.
Second.
And I would ask that you read the resolution, Scott.
Here all afternoon. This is just the start of probably more to come with this.
Mitch, you're still gonna be the contact person for Potawatomi County?
Yeah, so the resolution authorizing you to sign these documents, to keep everything moving forward. We're already registered since we were one of the litigating counties. So this is just giving the memorandum of understanding and all that other paperwork back to our attorneys before January 2nd. And then move forward, they think first payment should maybe come in April from this thing, so. Along with that, since we have to get basically all 99 counties to sign, as of the webinar I was at on Thursday, I think they only had 6 counties left. And then there was 19 cities that still needed to sign off. So anybody over 10,000 needed to sign off. So I reached out to Council Bluffs, and they do have it marked as an agenda item for them on Monday to sign some of the same paperwork that we're going to be signing. So that way we can get that taken care of as well. Because the more people that sign up, the more actually comes to the state of Iowa.
Okay. Were you able to find out who was registered before you?
I don't know who that is yet.
No, because
we weren't.
Well, I thought we were registered and it wasn't you. I thought you
Right.
said.
Yeah,
Miguel didn't tell you who it was.
I haven't got a response back from her yet. So, I mean, I did confirm.
I'm gonna guess it was probably Maggie. Way back when we first.
When did it
You guys
start?
aren't getting any of these emails directly with any of this
I
resolution.
get quite a bit.
Some
And honestly,
What?
most of them I just get rid of because I'm like, now that I know you're on it, I don't really care.
2017, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
She was here then, right? I'm guessing she probably did it, but I don't know. Okay.
But in the
Okay.
meantime, if you guys see some of that stuff come by, forward it my direction, just because I'm not on their email list yet.
Okay. Roll call.
Chairman Bell,
Aye.
Supervisors Wickman,
Sure.
Groby,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Shay.
Aye.
Okay, now we have a closed session
Make a motion to go into closed session.
pursuant to code Iowa, 20.17, parent 3, for discussion and decision for on labor negotiations and collective bargaining matters.
What is this, John?
Okay?
Chairman Bell,
Aye.
Supervisor Shay.
Yep.
Wickman,
Aye.
Schultz,
Aye.
Groby.
Aye.
Why did you make the motion?
Yeah, I got Brian and Justin.